The Honda Civic has been a staple in the world for generations, largely due to its price and efficiency. In 2025, is it the same? I would have to say so. Let's dive into this 2025 Honda Civic Sport Sedan and see if it still stacks up to the competition. Let's dive in. I want to give a huge shout out to Honda Superstore of Lisle for loaning this 2025 Civic Sport to us today so we could review it. If you're in need of a Honda or if you're looking to get one, just go to hondaoflisle.com and they will take care of all of your Honda needs. Starting off in the front, the 2025 Civic Sport does start off with a couple different refreshments, but mostly so that everybody knows that it is a 2025 and not a 2024. The changes that you can see right off the bat, first off, is this blue lagoon color. I actually like it a lot. Usually I'm not a big fan of these blue colors, but this one I can get down with. Another change that you'll notice is the grille. The grille is also redesigned for 2025, as well as the bumper. The bumper, what I love is all the vents are actually functional. So both on the right and left, you have functional vents, as well as in the center, both top and bottom. The lip is functional, as well as the grille. But you've got a nice Honda badge right here. It retains that sporty look, you know, it just kind of, the sport name fits it well. But you've got tri-beam LED headlights, as well as a long diffused daytime running light. And yeah, it just looks good. Moving along to the side of the Civic, you do have 18-inch blacked, you know, little glossy black alloy wheels wrapped in some summer tires currently. They look good. I've definitely seen worse wheels on a Civic. Then just normal glossy black side view mirrors, no lane departure warning, no camera, but you do have driver assistant features on the side view mirrors. You got painted door handles, that's a win, as well as the skirt at the bottom is also painted to match, so that's nice, at least it's not black. And then of course you've got this long body line that runs all the way from the front to the rear, add a little bit of style to it. Overall, I think it looks good. All right, let's move on to the rear of the Honda Civic and see what it's got in store in the back of the trunk here.
Hey, I can open, man. Just open it. Where is it?
Oh, we found a Steve. Uncle Steve, what are you doing back there? It is good to know that the 2025 Civic Sedan has enough room for Uncle Steve back there.
But you know what? It's really hard for me to find this thing here. I couldn't find it.
He almost got locked in there. All right, now that we got Uncle Steve out of the trunk, we can see what's going on in the back of the Civic Sedan that we've got here. It is nice and long and deep here, and what is great to see also is that you do get a spare tire. Now, it's not a match tire or anything like that, but it will take care of you in a pinch. But outside of that, there's not a whole lot going on back here. You've got these two levers here, or pulleys, and you pull them and then you have to go to the seat and actually drop it. So that's a little unfortunate. I would have loved to be able to just pull this and the seat falls. The rear of the 2025 Civic is largely unchanged. You know, it looks like a Civic always does. You've got the Honda badge on the side here, the Sport badge to let everybody know it's the Sport edition of the Civic. Now, you only get one exhaust tip, some long tail lights here. Overall, it's largely unchanged from prior years, you know? Stick with what works, right, Honda? Let's get into where the magic happens of this Honda Civic and see what's going on. When you first open up the door, not a lot of contrast going on, actually very little at all. You've got some gray contrast stitching. This is hard plastic. This, you know, it's a lot of fabric, right, and plastic. No big deal. You got some nice silver handles, though, with a manual lock, your side view controls, and unlock, and also only one touch operation for the front. That's unfortunate. As well as your trunk release button is also on the door. Outside of this, because of the value that the Civic tries to bring, it is missing a lot of things that we've grown to love. So the seat is entirely manual operated. You've got a pump to go up and down, your recline of course, and then it's also a manual lever to go forward and backwards. The outside of the seats are surrounded in leather, but the actual seat that you're sitting on itself is fabric. You know, that it is a $26,000 car, so we're not expecting it to just be filled with leather everywhere. All right, now a lot of the 2025 Hondas are styled to be very similar. So you'll notice a lot of similarities when you're looking at different Hondas, like especially these air vents here in the honeycomb pattern. It's actually an aluminum and not a plastic, so that's nice at least. But you've got soft touch injection molding up here, a little dial for your air, you know, your digital gauge cluster brightness, and your traction control on the left hand side of the steering wheel. Nothing too crazy going on. You've got your turn signals with your light control on the left hand side, your windshield washer on the right hand side, and then when it comes to the steering wheel itself, you do have a couple manual shifting paddles. That's always fun, especially when you're in a Civic. Got to keep the enjoyment while you're on the road. But on the left hand side, you've got your multimedia functions, and on the right hand side, you got your driver assistance functions. Very standard. Keep it simple, stupid. All right, now when it comes to the infotainment center on this Honda Civic, it is a little on the small side. You have to actually go up to the hybrid version to get more features and bigger screens and things like that. So a lot of the things that we're complaining that are missing on this Civic, you get if you move up to the hybrid models. But on this Civic Sport Sedan, you do get a 7-inch infotainment center. But what I do love to see is you've got a manual tuning knob, you've got a manual volume knob, and different functions to go through your infotainment center, like track seeking, your phone, radio, media, phone connection, back button, and menu button. Below there, we do have our hazard lights and dual zone climate control. So that's great. We don't have any ventilated seats and we don't have any heated seats though. Below there, we do have 2 Type-C ports, a 12-volt outlet, and a little cubby to store things. However, you're not going to be charging your phone down there when you set it there and you're driving away, because this one doesn't have that. Again, you have to go to the hybrid model in order to get that. But you do have 2 decently large cup holders, this textured plastic center area here. The boot is vinyl leather-ish with a contrasting stitch. Overall, the gear selector is not bad at all. But your drive mode selector, your auto hold, electronic parking brake, and your brake hold. When it comes to the center console here, you do have a little bit of padding on here for your elbow, but it is cloth, so it will get a little bit dirty. You're going to be cleaning this car pretty often, but it does have the nice gray contrasting stitching on the sides here, little tray for your coins, and a very nice and deep center console. I won't complain about that at all. Above the infotainment center, again, keep it simple, stupid. You've got your rear view mirror, no auto dimming. You've got the old manual flip that you've got to do in order to do anything. And then up here is as simple as it gets. Your dome light controls, and that's it. No, we don't have a sunroof in this. We don't have home link buttons. We don't have SOS buttons. You know, all the things that are normally up there, we don't have them. All right, let's hop into the rear of this Honda Civic and see if it's comfortable enough for some adults. Right off the bat though, you can see that it is styled exactly the same as the front door. If you want to call it that, there's not much style going on, but it's exactly the same. The seats are also a little bit different though. They don't have the colored stitching going on, only the leather on the sides. But overall, it is rather roomy back here. I've got plenty of head space, plenty of knee space. You know, there are a lot of things missing back here that I've noticed already though. There's no pouches on the back of either seat. There's no vents. There's no connectivity to power your phone. Not a whole lot of anything, but the seat itself is comfortable. And in the center here, you do get a nice little padded armrest with some cup holders. I will say it is quite low though. Like, you'd have to be leaning on it in order to use it. Also, even though this is a small Honda Civic sedan, it will fit a car seat relatively well. I will say, as they get bigger, you might have a little bit of trouble with their legs though. Uncle Steve's pretty big and that's his driving position. So his kid's in a lot of trouble there. All right, now I'm behind the wheel of this 2025 Civic Sport Sedan. And right off the bat, you know, I'll say I've always loved Civics. You know, they're just a good, efficient car that doesn't break the bank. And they're usually nice and sporty, agile, and tons of customization options. And I think in 2025, it'll be no different. As far as the drive goes, you know, it feels exactly like a Civic. The handling is absolutely fantastic. It is missing the oomph though. It doesn't have a lot of ponies. It's not very fast. It's maybe nimble enough to keep up in your like 35, 40 mile per hour residential areas or like city limits and stuff like that. But once you get on the highway, you might have a little bit of trouble there, at least in this non-hybrid version. The hybrid trims are just a smidge faster, at least from what I was told. We will review one at some point, but right now we've got the full gasoline option. The steering wheel itself, although it's not leather, it's more of like a plastic. It's not bad. It's nice and comfortable enough. It has some contrasted stitching going on. You know, it looks good. Albeit this isn't the sportiest looking Civic or anything like that. It is nice that it at least retains the manual shifting paddles. It's always a pleasure to play around with those when you're bored, I guess. As for road noise and wind noise and things like that, it's there. It's not the worst, but it's not that great either. I can definitely hear wind noise and road noise, but road noise is partly due to our low profile tires. We're close to the ground, you know, so it's just kind of what you got to expect. The wind noise could definitely be a little better, but it's not bad. The visibility, it's good, especially for a Civic sedan. You've actually got, despite how raked the rear window is, you still can see out it plenty good. The seats aren't so large that they're blocking up half of the window like you a lot of times run into. As for the lack of options in the Civic, I would probably step up to the hybrid models so that you start getting some of those other options and maybe a little more power. You know, it just seems like the value is more in the hybrid options. This Civic Sport, I do think, is a great entry car, or, you know, a good car for college students or what have you. There's nothing wrong with it. It's great that it still has your backup camera. It does have some driver assistance functions like adaptive cruise control, lane keep, collision alert. So, you know, but if you want more driver's assistant functions, you do actually, again, have to step up to those hybrid options. They just don't put a lot in these gasoline versions. So, you know, you'll have to decide how important those things are to you. Or, you know, is it worth the extra 10 grand? As for the infotainment center, it is a bit on the small side. There's no navigation unless you hook your phone up to it. But on the plus side, it does have wireless Android Auto and wireless CarPlay. So that is nice. You can at least do that. You can access your maps and apps like that. All right, well, that's about what I have to say about what's going on the interior of this 2025 Civic Sport Sedan and what features you have access to. Let's go ahead and get Uncle Steve in the driver's seat and see what he has to say about this new Civic. All right, let's do 0 to 60 in this 2025 Honda Civic Sport Sedan and see how she does. All right, we got to 30 in 4.22 seconds. And we got to 60 in 10.48 seconds. Man, Steve, you have to tell me, what's up with these rice burners just being slow?
It's outdated, man.
It's outdated?
No, they have the Type R, you know. You want fast, go get a Type R.
All right, well, how about you tell us about the powertrain we've got in this sports sedan?
So Uncle Steve going to talk about the powertrain. Well, for the 2025, for me, it's kind of a little bit disappointed. They get rid of the 1.5 liter turbo gasoline engine and move everything to hybrid. For the gasoline engine, they only offer 2.0 four-cylinder engine and produce 150 horsepower and 133 foot-pound of torque. That is 8 horsepower less than 2024. And in 2024, they have Sport Touring model. They offer 1.5 liter turbo engine, produce 180 horsepower. Unfortunately, for 2025, they don't have that anymore.
Why do you think they did that?
I believe they was thinking about they have the Type R and then they also have the hybrid. So the hybrid engine for 2025 is they produce 200 horsepower. So they put all the fun to the hybrid.
Yeah.
So for the fuel economy for this 2025 model, sport model, is 36 miles per gallon combined. And for the drivetrain, it's just front-wheel drive with a CVT transmission. However, they have an option for a 6-speed manual for the sport trim. And also they offer hatchback style.
So Steve, I know that right now we're driving the sport sedan, But you mentioned that they have a hatchback. Would you rather have the hatchback?
I would rather have a hatchback. In fact, the Type R is a hatchback.
Yeah.
I like the Type R so much.
They look great.
Yeah, there's more than 300 horsepower. So if you want fast, you want 0 to 60 to like under 5 seconds, get a Type R. Well, obviously this is not for you if you're looking for 0 to 60. On paper, it says 9.6, and we did what, 10.2?
Something like that.
Yeah, so it's still slow, even 9.6.
But could you modify this, you think, to make it fast?
No, I would not modify it. They're not built for that.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So Type R it is if you want speed.
So let's talk about the drive. The drive is like an average car. Nothing really excited. The handling, I would say, is the best of the car, beside the price. And pretty much that's it. It's simple. It's very simple. Everything in here, I like simple. The reason I like simple is less thing to fix if you have some problem with it. So the braking is fine. Just it will stop. Acceleration is horrible. I don't know. It feels like I'm in like the 80s.
I will say the acceleration is so bad. I'm afraid to merge.
Okay. Yeah. When you go on highway, right?
Yeah.
And the noise is a lot of noise. Road noise, tire noise. Speaking of tire, actually this tire is a little bit low profile compared to the average commute cars. So maybe that's why there's more road noise.
Yeah, those thinner sidewalls or shorter sidewalls will induce more road noise just by nature.
Yeah, but one thing I really like is the price. Wow, Josh.
That's actually one of the best things about the Honda Civic. You get a reliable car that has what you need, and the price is right there. And it's no different in 2025. The LX, which is the entry base model, comes in at $25,345. The Sport, which we're driving today and is actually the most popular trim in the world, comes in at $27,345. The Sport Hybrid, though, is $29,845. The SI comes in at $31,045, and the Sport Touring Hybrid comes in at $32,845 MSRP. So overall, the Civic is just a good value car. They're not trying to add all these features or make it luxurious like we're used to. It's just supposed to be a good car, Steve.
It's just commute, from point A to point B. And like I said, it's really simple. In case you have something like broken, it's really easy to fix. Overall, it just save money, I would say. Yeah. But the space is not there. If you have 10 kids, no way can fit in here. Maybe the max is like 2 kids, but it's tight, even with 2 kids. All right, so time for Uncle Steve story time, Josh.
All right, what you got on us?
So, since we are talking about the CVT, and this has CVT, and the CR-V has a CVT, what year and model that have the first CVT from a Honda? The first time they introduced in Honda?
I don't know. I'll say 2008.
No, more back.
That was 1998.
Close. The answer is 1995 Honda Civic HX. That was the Honda first CVT.
And now, was that a good decision or a bad decision?
It was actually good. I have never heard a lot the problem from people, from my experience. I never hear they have problems. The Honda CVT has problem. Yeah, mostly it's just Nissan and Subaru and some other American makes. Yeah,
the Subaru CVT transmissions are awful. But back to this Honda, you spend a lot of time working in shops and things like that. How often have you seen Honda Civics come through? Or are they pretty reliable?
They're pretty reliable. Honda and Toyota are pretty reliable. Mazda actually is surprisingly reliable. They just come to do regular maintenance. But one thing I have to mention, most Honda engine is interference. That means if your timing belt, if you don't make good maintenance on the timing belt if it break, then your engine will mostly destroy.
Yeah, that's not great.
Yeah, that's expensive.
Well, there you go. So if you get this 2025 Honda Civic, you have to make sure that you stay up to date on your maintenance, because trust me, you do not want to throw a timing belt. All right, so in conclusion, what do we think of the 2025 Honda Sport Sedan? Overall, I think it's a good, efficient, well-priced sedan. You know, you get what you expect. There are obviously features missing, but overall, if I really had to pick, I do think it is worth the bump up to the hybrid. You know, it's only $6,000 more and you get loads of more features. You'll have to let us know what you think in the comments. So smash up the likes, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you at the next video.